Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 Tales of the Cocktail Seminar, The Pioneers, How Non-Alcoholic Spirits Are Forging a New Path Through Innovative Channels. My name is Justin Liu. I'm the Consumer Marketing and Digital Director for Distill Ventures. A little bit about Distill Ventures. We're the world's first independent drinks accelerator dedicated to helping founders build, scale, and sell the drinks brands of the future. Since 2013, we've committed over $100 million to over 15 founder-led brands. And our portfolio spans various drinks categories, and one of our pillars is non-alcoholic spirit brands. Some of the brands include Ritual Zero Proof and Siegfried. As the name of today's discussion implies, it's an exciting time in the non-alcoholic category as the category is booming. IWSR shows that the growth in average CAGR from 2016 to 2020 is 289%. And last year, the category grew almost 80%. And IWSR projects double-digit growth over the next 5 years. Today, we'll be speaking with highly influential members of the non-alcoholic community to discuss how non-alcoholic brands and retailers have forged a new path using very different and new platforms, such as TikTok, to build awareness, grow their follower base, and convert views into tangible sales. I'd like to introduce our panelists for today. We have Gigi Sakey, co-founder of Ritual Zero Proof. Say hi, Gigi. Raphael Vollmar, co-founder of Rhineland Distillers, and Siegfried.
Hi, everyone.
We have Lauren Birnbaum, National Head, Food and Beverage at TikTok US.
Hey, everyone.
And Louis Borrelli, co-founder at No and Low. So thank you all, everybody, for being here today. We're going to kick this off, but start the conversation. It'd be great for all of you to tell the audience a little bit about yourselves and what brought you into the non-alcoholic space. And let's start with Gigi.
So hi, I'm the co-founder of Ritual Zero Proof. We have been in the non-alc space for a little over 3 years now. We officially launched our line of products 2 years ago. And what brought us into the non-alc space is honestly a love of a really well-crafted cocktail, maybe a little too much of a love of it. And the desire to have more control and more ability, more options available to us. My husband Marcus and one of our dear friends David, the three of us founded Ritual when my husband, who has spent most of his career as a novelist, just realized he was drinking. He was falling into what novelists do and drinking more than he wanted to, and he wanted to take a conscious break. And when he did that, he found he was more than anything missing the ritual of sitting down with a good book and a nice drink, something more special than, tonic water. And he is also a passionate amateur chef, and he just got busy in the kitchen and started messing around. And a year and a half later, after tapping some of the best flavors in the world and going through hundreds of iterations, we came up with something that really made us happy, and something that we felt was something that could replace that regular spirit for you and still leave you really happy with what you've got in your glass. So yeah, that's what brought us in the non-alc space.
Yeah, I mean, people truly loving your products. I think that you guys are doing a wonderful job in the United States, and definitely I could see you all the time getting ads and getting posted on Amazon. So I see a lot of the very cool prompts to purchase your products. Raphael, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you're currently not in our neck of the woods, but a little further away.
Yes. Like in times like these, everybody is reachable through this Zoom platform and others. So it feels as being with you guys in one room. And thank you for having me in this discussion, Justin. How did it start for us? back in time, 2014, my best friend and I, we thought, okay, let's come up with our own gin brand. And we entered the drinks business with 4,000 euros in our pockets and lots of good ideas. And we always communicated through social media channels with our end consumers because we couldn't even differentiate between on-trade, off-trade. It took some months for us to learn what these words mean. And so we thought, okay, let's directly communicate with the people out there and use social media as it is like when you start, it's still for free. It's getting more expensive over time, but this is another story. So what we did is we tried to entertain people, and part of our entertainment is making silly jokes, especially on April 1st, for example. And in 2016, we thought of, okay, late as always, we thought, okay, what is the joke we're going to make today? And we thought, okay, what is the maybe a most absurd thing a gin producer can claim on April 1st? And we announced that Siegfried Gin, the product that became by that time like one of the highest awarded gins in the world, we claimed that this product is now available non-alc. And the reaction was quite like, first we thought, okay, we have to laugh about the people, but we soon found out that there was more than 2 or 3 people asking for the product. Where can we buy it? We want to have it for our yoga retreat. We operate a wellness hotel, and we keep asked frequently for non-alc alternatives. And then we thought, okay, maybe there is something about this idea, but back then we were just in the beginnings, and we have this drawer of unfulfilled dreams, as we call it, and we put it aside. And when my wife reported to be pregnant second time, she said, everything is great, we are expecting another baby, but there's a problem with gin and tonic. And then we reminded the drawer, opened it up, and got the idea back out. We developed Siegfried Wonderleaf, and we've been like true pioneers in a way that we were the first spirits brand in the world who came out with a non-alc alternative product. We were the first in Germany to engage in that field, and the date my daughter Flora was born was the day we shipped the first bottles of Wonderleaf, which is now leading the pack of non-alc drinks in the German-speaking area. So the GSA region is like read in one of the researches that it's dominated by Wonderleaf, and yeah, here I am.
Well, that's amazing. 4,000 euros, an April Fool's joke to the largest non-alc brand in Germany. That's really awesome.
That's enough.
So yeah, congratulations.
It enough, Justin. It used to be enough. Yeah.
It used to be. That's true too. Well, Lauren, thanks for joining us today. And you and your platform have taken the world by storm. I guess saw a stat that you have almost 2 billion downloads of TikTok, and like the 7th largest social media, social networking app, which is amazing. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and humbled to be a part of this crowd. I'm definitely an entrepreneur wannabe. Hopefully one day I'll have as much courage as all of you to do so. But I've had, I'd say, a very varied experience. I've been on the brand side. I've worked at L'Oreal. I've worked at Snapchat, at Google, at a Korean skincare startup. And most recently, I've been with TikTok for about 2.5 years. And my TikTok journey actually started with my journey discovering non-alcohol. So I was extremely pregnant, and my husband discovered an amazing book that really got him into becoming a mixology. So an amateur mixologist trying out new drinks on a very regular basis, and I was extremely jealous. So pushed him to try to find varying non-alcoholic ingredients to make amazing cocktails that still tasted as good as his alcoholic ones. So I went to interview for TikTok, and actually the day I was supposed to interview went into labor, which was an amazing, crazy start to my TikTok career. And I think it's very quintessential to how TikTok has been. It's been blowing up from day one, just like my pregnancy, unexpected, amazing wins. And, throughout at least the first year at TikTok, I was breastfeeding, so wanted to continue to have non-alcoholic drinks, continue to encourage my husband to find unique ways to indulge in non-alcoholic beverages. So been able to discover a lot of the brands that we have on this panel and others, and it's just been an exciting journey. I've been with TikTok for about 2.5 years, and every day is a new adventure, and we're seeing non-alcoholic category really start to springboard, and we're seeing amazing brands be a part of our audience, which is really exciting to see.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I could tell that you have a little one behind you, so it's proof that there's truth in your story. And Louis, so happy to have you. One of the reasons why we brought you in was because No and Low has done a wonderful job at utilizing TikTok, Instagram, at growing your community. And I guess I'd love to hear a little bit about what had you and your brother Max start No and Low.
Most definitely. So I am Louis. I am from No and Low. We are a non-alcoholic online bottle shop, direct to consumer. We're trying to make the best non-alcoholic spirits, wines, aperitifs, whatever it may be, more accessible in the US, and help people discover this very new category. Me and my brother, we both come from a background of food and beverage. My grandfather, when he first came to Canada and America, his first thing for making money was importing grapes and making wine. So we grew up in like a winemaking family, and we had a deep appreciation for that. And then my dad as well, he was importing olive oil and tomatoes and different products from Europe into America. So we just always grew up with this really great passion and appreciation for food and alcohol. As I grew up, and my brother as well, alcohol was very different when it was with my friends. It meant something completely different. It meant drinking and for a different purpose. That appreciation of the liquid and the process and the terroir and whatever it may be, it didn't exist. So we kind of always had this these fighting values about what it meant to us. And then when, as I'm sure everyone's heard of Seedlip by now, when we first heard of Seedlip, we were really attracted to this idea of putting so much enthusiasm and passion into a product that doesn't have alcohol, the same that you would put into like a nice crafted bottle of wine. So it kind of got us super excited, and we would talk about it to our friends and our family and everyone we knew, because we were just so excited about it. And a lot of people had questions about it and never heard of it. It was very, very new. So we thought, okay, I wonder if there's a business here. I wonder if there's like a good amount of interest in this. So we started playing around with it, making cocktails, and my brother had the idea, well, the best way we can get some traction on here is probably making videos on TikTok and see if we can find a community of people that are kind of interested in this. And we were very persistent in making videos probably every day for about 6 months, until a couple of videos finally went viral, and we had some that did like 3-4 million views, and we acted very fast. We opened it up, the direct-to-consumer website, and we started making these products more available, and we've been growing ever since. We're a very young company. We're not even 1 year old yet, I think, which is kind of similar to a lot of companies in the non-alc space. But yeah, we're very excited, very passionate. And we're also taking some of our expertise growing up in like an import-export business, and we are exporting or importing select brands into the US as well now, doing some distribution to restaurants and bars that are starting to finally pick this up and carry it and bring it on their menus and whatnot. So it's a very exciting time for us.
Awesome. Well, Louis, really nice job. And I think that all folks on this call are probably super excited to have you on and to learn a little bit more about how you've been able to develop and build out such great content and build your community. But we can talk about that a little later. Just a question for all the founders, as you've entered this new category, and it is a very new category, what headwinds have you experienced? I mean, entering something that's brand new and building something is always a challenge. Rather than just talk about all the things that go in your way, what challenges have you faced?
I would say, yes, you're right, Justin. Every entrepreneur faces a lot of uphill battles. I think there's a particular uphill battle when you are among the very first in a whole new category that requires some education. We're still in a place of having to educate people about what non-alcoholic beverages are, why you would want them, when you would use them, how they're made. There's just a ton of conversation that has to be had up front, you know, and so I would say that's probably been one of our biggest challenges, and honestly, we have made an enormous amount of progress. You know, once you explain to people, you know, it's an all natural, non-alcoholic liquor replacement that you use the same way you would the leaded, you know, counterparts, just mix them with your favorite cocktail. They get it. You know, there are times, I think, when all of us would want something that is lower calorie, something that gives us more of an option to downshift on the nights when you are drinking, or to have something tasty in your glass on the nights when you aren't drinking. But I would say that has been one of our biggest challenges. And then, you know, obviously, we've all been living through this pandemic for the last year and change. That has presented different challenges and also very different opportunities. Obviously, during the pandemic, when bars and restaurants and such were shut down, you weren't able to get in and to get your product placed there. But that opened up other avenues, because one of the wonderful things about non-alcoholic products is that you can sell them anywhere. You can sell them direct to the consumer, which is very different. Obviously, Lewis knows all about that. It's very different than alcoholic beverages, where you've got a lot of different legalities to deal with and distribution challenges to deal with. So we've, you know, I think we've been very, very fortunate to be able to sell direct to the consumer over the last year and really kind of develop our sales that way and get distribution in wider ways that way. So yeah, those have been a couple of the challenges we've dealt with and where we are with them now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you actually look at the different challenges that you faced in terms of like consumer education and COVID, and you flip those around to say, hey, we're going to be able to educate a consumer with a very, you know, easy to understand product that tastes delicious, as well as, you know, COVID challenges and getting on-premise accounts, focusing on DTC. That's really smart.
Yeah, that was our goal from the beginning, is to make it as, you know, knowing that this was a whole new kind of product. You know, you're going in with a veggie burger and people are like, wait, what? We love cow. What are you talking about? To make it a straight replacement, you know, the easiest, use the same terminology. It's meant to emulate the mouthfeel and taste of gin. You know, that has been our goal from the beginning.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. The Beyond Meat, and you're like the Beyond Meat of the non-alc world.
Right.
Awesome. And Raphael, how about yourself? What, you know, you've been in the category for a few years. What challenges have you seen from going from alc to non-alc?
Like in the beginning, it was for us like as being part of the spirits industry. We were in this kind of bubble where in Europe we still in the middle of a gin hype, which was basically the reason why we are part of that gin hype. And then as we developed our brand and got more recognition by end consumers, and fortunately Europe is a little different in shipping alcohol D2C. Because we can, this the one big advantage. So in the beginning, as I just mentioned, we only had these almost 4,000 euros, and when you start thinking about what you have to do with 4,000 euros in order to start a brand, it's definitely not playing the on-trade game of making spirits more popular. So we always were concentrating on the people out there and then trying to serve their needs from a gin perspective. And we experienced pretty soon that there are also other people out there. So as I mentioned, the April Fool's prank. that was the one moment that refers back to our engagement in this category. But on the way to this date and till my wife reported pregnant again, there were always people refusing to take one of our nice drinks we made with our spirit. And if you start digging a little deeper into there, you see that this could also be the majority of all the people who don't drink liquor. And the fact that gin, and especially served as a gin and tonic, is so super popular, caused finding by us that we when we decided to work on a non-alc alternative, we were actually highly confident, because in our case we didn't have to explain the consumers what to do with a Siegfried product. So we're doing the same thing, but we're facing different hurdles, because in the beginning we thought for a few days that it would be wise to try to make the world a little better and make people drink a little less alcohol. But always watch out. Yeah, this does not work. Like, at least it doesn't for us. So we always listen to, because the bidirectionality of the channels we use gives us instant feedback, and we quickly found out that it's by far smarter to address the new product to a target group that is actively or passively in the non-alc game. So in the end, the education part was an easy one for us, because there was just this tiny little hurdle in the beginning to understand that not everybody is inside the same bubble as we are, but the rest was for us pretty straightforward. So like, I'm super impressed how market participants who found their companies not coming or not having a liquor heritage manage to educate people, because this is by far, I would say, the hardest job. And fortunately, this is not true for us.
No, that's great. Yeah, the consumer education, something that I hear a lot, especially through the non-alc world. We've Distill Ventures has conducted a bunch of research on that, and have sent out a couple of white papers just in terms of non-alc and the consumer in the space. Now, speaking of the space, Louis, you as a non-alc retailer, I'm always just intrigued at your approach, because you guys are a brand, but also you're selling brands. So how have you looked at the category and the challenges of the category and education and so on and so forth? What has your approach been?
So like everyone's mentioned, the brand education and communicating it the right way, that's been some of our core values. And in everything that we do, we're trying to make sure that we understand what the consumer is looking for, what questions they're asking. And one of the nicest things for us is that the platform that we're using, TikTok, it creates so much engagement and so much data and so many insights that we're able to analyze these comments that we're getting and truly understanding, okay, why are these people asking these questions, and how can we communicate them to answer these questions properly, and get them excited about the category, or help them understand something that they might not be understanding. We get tons of questions like, why would you drink this? Why does it cost this much? Which product should I use if I want to make this and that? And what does it taste like? Does it taste exactly like alcohol? So there's so many different questions, and we're so grateful and lucky to have these this data, because we can directly go and make content based off of that and answer those questions. So we've approached it in the sense that when we make this content, we are trying to find our community and our people that are really interested in this. We're not directly trying to convert someone that loves drinking alcohol and they're not interested in this. We're not trying to convert those people. We're trying to look for people that are naturally kind of gravitating towards this, and that's what's been really working for us right now. In the sense of the way we approach it as well, we're not trying to just directly sell the product. We don't even think about that. It's kind of like an afterthought. The first and most important thing is, how can we communicate it to them? what kind of conversation can we get going with the audience? And then we think about the sales after, because we know it's a little bit of a longer journey, and the sales will come because it's so early. There's just so many questions, and we have to be vigilant and make sure we answer each question and kind of do it persistently. And if it means repeating ourselves a few times, eventually it's going to connect with these people. And I think we have an advantage that a lot of other businesses don't have, where we get to go directly in there and have these like intimate conversations, either if it's in the comments or if it's in the DMs where people are messaging us directly. We get to have these conversations, and sometimes we'll literally jump on a phone call with some of them if they're willing to do that. And it's been exciting because when you're in a grocery store and you have all these customers coming in, you're not getting to talk to all the customers. We're at this point right now where we actually get to do that, where we get to talk to everyone. And it takes and consumes a lot of our time right now, but it's just super important to us to connect with each individual that's kind of, given their energy and commenting on the post. And we love to see it, and even them interacting with each other. What we've noticed is as we've developed these videos and as we've kind of grown, there's our community that will answer the questions for us. So someone will go in there and be like, well, why would anyone drink this? And then we have our community go in there, well, this reason, and there's millions of reasons, right? And then there's the people saying, well, they don't even need to explain themselves. If you don't want to drink, you don't have to drink. And we love to see that. We love to see the community that we've built.
Well, I think not to speak for Gigi and for Raphael, but thank you for answering and speaking to those, actually like being kind of like a gatekeeper. It's fascinating that you're getting all these questions, you're needing to respond. I think a lot of brands often get saddled with that. I'm sure that's something that everyone's used to, all the questions about non-alc and why does it cost so much, and if there's no alcohol, and all these other questions. Now, Lauren, Lewis has done a wonderful job in terms of building a community. Now, for TikTok, like, how do you guys look at and how do you view like the community build, and how does that work?
Yeah, well, Lewis, thank you for kind of setting me up here. And I would say what you're doing is really the gold standard. The goal is for you to create this community to speak on behalf of the brand. And what I think TikTok does a great job is we're really trying to create an equalizing user base and an equalizing opportunity for our brands to be discovered. And so what's great about our platform is when you join the platform, it's really easy. We're removing all the labels. You don't have to say, I enjoy this type of content. You're going on the platform to really discover all different types of content. And so what we're seeing from brands is the more that you're putting out there, the more opportunities users have to discover your brand. And exactly what Lewis said, you're not converting people. People are actually leaning into the different types of content that they're being exposed to, that they're interested in. And what we're seeing as a whole is because our audience has all the labels removed, they're experiencing things that they're only seeing on TikTok versus other platforms. Therefore, they're more inclined to say, what is this? Let me learn more about it. And if they are interested, they'll continue to go down what we call kind of the positive rabbit hole of discovery and excitement versus being forced to consume content that may or may not resonate with them. Awesome.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Just for everybody on the call, I'm just really interested in understanding, I think, Gigi, you had mentioned this, where in the United States, you have this LDA compliance, marketing to those who are 21 plus. How have you been able to reach the consumer in ways that your alcoholic beverage counterparts have not?
You're right. We do deal with some of those specifics. But yeah, we do have more opportunities in a way. Like if you're talking about advertising, we're able to reach them in ways that alcoholic brands can't. We can retarget them, which is basically just a fancy way of saying someone's shown an initial interest, then we can kind of continue to show them an ad in a relevant circumstance. As Lewis was pointing out, it's kind of it's a long journey for some of these folks. They first hear about this product, and then they really kind of need some time to sort of consider how it might apply to their lives. And so it's helpful to be able to kind of like help them hold their hand a bit through this journey as they get to know the category. So that's one of the ways. I think one advantage we have over alcoholic brands is we can appeal to them also in a really positive way, in a better for you way. And that's empowering to the consumer, you know, to really make you feel like you're making a great choice for yourself. So I would say that's definitely another way. And we're also able to reach them in really personal ways. You know, the experiencing a non-alcoholic beverage can be, you hear all about these very personal journeys of that people are having either to sobriety or like, hey, my gosh, you know, I've never have been able to have sit down and have a whiskey with my dad because for health reasons he can't drink or whatever. And you gave me that moment of sitting on the porch on a hot summer night and having a whiskey with my dad. And a lot of folks who have dealt with health challenges, cancer, or anything like that, and they just want to go out and have fun with their friends like the rest of us and feel like they're a part of things. So I think that has been by far the most rewarding part of creating this brand, being a part of this community and helping to build out this community. I mean, especially again after the last year and a half with COVID, it's, you know, it's been so challenging for so many people in so many different ways to be able to be a part of something that is giving people, you know, really emotional experiences and making them feel empowered to make health choices. That's been wonderful.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I never really thought through and thought about the different ways that you can communicate to the consumer versus ALC, and just like, you know, I'm sure that your ALC counterparts are like, oh, I wish we can talk about health benefits and talk about these, you know, it's just interesting things. Wondering from all of you, you know, how has the non-alc category influenced the overall drinks industry? Because it's a brand new category. It's a relatively new category. How have you viewed your change, or how have you influenced the drinks industry?
With that question, I remember pretty well in 2018, we went as exhibitors to a great big trade fair in Germany, and we used to have a stand there always, and we were standing out always because of we do things differently. And I remember pretty well, it was October 2018, so I just launched Wonderleaf a few months before, and there were so many people like talking behind their hands, like, look at these, there they are, and they're like, the crazy guys are here, and look at what they're doing now. They're engaging in non-alc, and there was lots of laughter and stuff. And right now we see many of these and very many well-established players in the market coming up with their own non-alc alternative. I think it was brands like Ritual in the US, or like our brand, and of course like led by Ben and Seedlip, who were keen enough to go that step. And to show how valuable it is to listen to consumers' needs. Because one thing I would like to add to Gigi's words from just before is that besides seeing the world black and white, alc and non-alc, it's and I would like to take another of your words. You just used the enabling moment, and like with products like ours, it's the first time that consumers are enabled to choose the amount of alcohol to drink within grown-up drinks. Because before our products, and like for all of us, it's like we might almost not remember the times before there were products like ours, how boring it was to drink non-alc drink. To be the designated driver was a pain. You went up drinking sparkling water or some soft drink soda stuff that's filled with sugar, and that's created for kids. Yeah, it's the sweet parts of the drinks, and then if you think further, like we always make fun about drinks that were served as non-alc cocktails back then, was just take at least 2 different fruit juices and punch them together and add a little decoration thing, and that's your non-alc cocktail, which was like terribly boring. And the enabling part is, I think, what has proven to be a good concept, to listen to consumers and give them stuff they didn't know that exists, and it sounds a little Steve Jobbish, I think, but it kind of is. Yeah, it's and that at least had a huge impact on the industry. Definitely, if you see the amount of brands that are active in our region and also in the US, there's tons of companies serving the needs, because life would be super boring if there would be only one brand. But it has an impact, definitely.
I'm happy to jump in too, just to add to that. I think it's been amazing to see the lifestyle impact, and like a lot of you mentioned, this for you, this better opportunities to do the daily things that you'd love to do with having these beverages. We've seen a lot of our non-alcoholic brands really take TikTok by storm by doing really fun hacks, tips, and tricks and new ways to reimagine the category. And I think on the heels of that, we've seen this whole evolution of kind of like removing a lot of the stereotypes of alcohol and redefining the whole category, non-alcohol as well as alcohol. One example is the viral trend that was the beer poster, and women and men alike on our platform were recreating a lot of those more, I'd say, traditional sexualized posters, and people were just showcasing themselves drinking their favorite beverage. And I do think that a lot of that momentum and lifestyle component was on the heels of the non-alcoholic category, showcasing you can be who you are, you can feel good about yourself while having a beverage.
Yeah, and Gigi, I'd love to hear your perspective on Ritual's impact on the drinks industry.
Yeah, just on the heels of both Siegfried and Lauren, those are great points. And honestly, if I'm honest about when the germ of Ritual came about, it was when I was pregnant 10 years ago, and I was being served. You'd go out and you'd want to be a part of things as well, and you're served 2 fruit chases with a maraschino cherry, which is both disgusting and more calories than I was hoping for. Especially for something I'm not enjoying. I guess one thing that we haven't touched upon, I know that there are a lot of folks in the bar and restaurant industry who are a part of this conference. And one of the things that I feel like we have changed there is, it used to be in the very beginning when we would speak with folks in that industry, they were among those like, wait, what? Why in the world would we want this? And they have started to understand that it's actually incremental revenue for them. These are folks who used to come in and order tonic water, or they weren't going to have a boozy lunch, but now they can enjoy your $8 or $10 cocktail with a non-alc option. And so I think that has been one of the ways we've started to move the needle there as well.
Yeah, as you touched upon on-premise, like where do you all see non-alc fitting into the on-premise environment? I think you just mentioned about like revenue build, but as you look at the space, where do you see it evolving over the next few years, and what's your approach to influence that change? Of course, this is as the world's slowly opening up.
I'll go ahead and jump in here. I think long term, me and my brother, we truly believe that anywhere that you consume alcohol, you're going to have an option to consume a non-alcoholic beverage. Like you guys have been touching upon, there's been this incredible stigma attached to mocktails or non-alcoholic drinks. And we have this challenge of kind of tearing that down and telling people, there is quality behind these products. They're very incredible products that you could do so much with. And it's not even just on the consumer basis of direct to consumer, which we're facing on our website, but it's the bartenders and the owners of these bars and restaurants, making sure that they understand, because they have these same exact questions, right? And if we have to influence them and make sure they understand the products as well, and they can incorporate it into their menu or wherever it may be, and they do it the proper way, and they give it the attention that it deserves, and they kind of give it a priority where they put it on the menu. Is it at the end? Is there just one drink available? Are they still just doing kind of juices, or are they introducing these incredible brands like Ritual and Siegfried? And we're consulting right now. We're doing a lot of that, and we're excited to kind of see it. It's slowly growing on the restaurant and on-premise category, but it's the growth hasn't been as quick as it has been during the pandemic for direct to consumer, but we're excited to see the growth where in the restaurants and bars.
Yeah, and there's one more point to add. I'd say, like, to compare this with if you run a restaurant and you don't have a vegan option on your menu, like, totally unbelievable, this idea. But we were faced bar owners who said, we will delist your alcoholic product because you turn crazy, and there is still people out in the industry who say, no, we refuse to sell non-alc drinks and stuff. Let's wait and see. It's with the same with vegetarian or vegan food, as if there is replacements that don't lack the experience, then it would be like literally waste of time to not offer these products. And we keep working on educating and then telling people out there that these products are existing, and if only enough people go and ask for products like these, and it's not about only our brand, it's all the other brands as well. If there's a good experience with that, people will go and ask, and then they will ask in their favorite bar to serve them one more drink, and this one last drink that still puts them in the position to be able to drive the car back home. That should be argument enough, I'd say.
Yeah, agreed. And I will add to that as well. You know, as we've all been going through this pandemic in the last year and a half, that everything has been about what you are doing at home, right? How you can create your rituals at home. Obviously, we haven't been able to leave, but a lot of the foundation for people's non-alc habit has been formed at home as they've they're transitioning from work into their putting the kids down and that sort of thing, and you still want something to mark the moment. And so people have, we've done research and have found that folks have really kind of turned into at-home bartenders, but now we can go out, and people are still going to want to have that awesome experience when they go out. We also have research that shows that what most people are doing is enjoying their spirit alternatives with meals. So I think restaurants and bars will both be remiss if they don't have something awesome, lots of choices even to offer their customers. And actually, I will add one more onto that as well, is that millennials, we haven't touched upon this, but everybody on this panel is well aware that millennials is this generation that's come around that is drinking at such a lower rate than any previous generation. They are the ones who really kind of set the trends on these sorts of things. And so you're gonna want something to serve them as well.
Those are both great points. I think to reiterate, Raphael, it's a fantastic or a fascinating perspective to say, if you go out to a restaurant and somebody doesn't have vegetarian or vegan options, there's a problem there. And it's like, that's actually a kind of eye-opening perspective for on-premise, that why would you not have non-alc and serve, you're in the hospitality world. Being able to serve your customers is important. And Gigi, that's a great perspective on at-home consumption, as well as the fact that younger consumers are less interested in drinking than their Gen X or Boomer counterparts. So those are all fascinating things. Just to jump back into the perspective of innovative channels of communication, within the way you approach the market, how have you guys been using things like TikTok, Instagram, and other innovative channels? Raphael, I know you did something with NFTs, which I thought was super interesting and fascinating, but I'd love to understand how are you guys approaching the market differently by utilizing TikTok and Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, so what we thought in the beginning, it was a money-saving device to use the technology that's out there, and we always, it's a question of focus. And as we grew with our brand and we gained experience, we found out that we, in our case, we need to be more than just a spirits producer, or a now even larger non-alc producer than spirits producer, but rather we try to always entertain people, and this is part of our DNA. We try to create experiences that go beyond the simple drinking. So we of course we post recipes and stuff, but as you just mentioned, Justin, we also do collaborations, and we teamed up with maybe the biggest sprayer crew in the world. They're called One United Power, and we got them create a massive piece for us that was sprayed on 361 bottles of secret gin in this case, and they were installed in our logistics facility and then tagged like beautiful art piece. And we had 2 sofas put there in front of it, and we sat there and we said, okay, we simply can't sell it. It's a shame to sell, because with taking the first bottle out of the shelf, we would have destroyed the artwork. And that was right the moment when digital art was made or was enabled to be sold through Bitcoin or NFT technology. And we thought, okay, let's add another piece to the game. There's very, very low decision-making hierarchies in our company, as you can imagine. So we sat there, we decided, we had a beautiful picture taken of it, and we sold it on OpenSea. And the piece lives on forever. I could, after this talk, I could look up where it is right now, but we sold it and we donated the money to an orphan's home here in our hometown. It's that adds a tiny little new piece to our brand, and it's always the sum of all the tiny pieces that build a brand. And it's we see our task in, as I just mentioned, in more entertaining people and throwing videos out and making jokes and always try to be different than the rest of the pack, and by that be approachable and reachable and authentic as well. So that's I would say also a key to success in any industry, I would say.
Great. Lauren, TikTok's an awesome platform. Can you just give us your, I'd say, pitch on why it's so great for non-alc and why non-alc should be there?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we talk about entertaining as a big component, and we are the ultimate entertainment platform. People are coming on TikTok to experience something new, to discover new brands, discover new opportunities. And so it's kind of a match made in heaven, because you have the audience who's leaned in, who wants to learn, who wants to be exposed, and they really don't have any preconceived notions. This audience isn't asking to be, targeted. They're really just leaning into what is interesting to them. So I think it's an opportunity for you to continue to, I'd say, educate versus re-educate, which is a lot of what I would say, more traditional brands are doing that have been in the market for a longer period of time. They have to kind of redefine who they are with the modern times and redefine what they could or could not be on the platform. But I think non-alcohol has an opportunity to be who they are and to just educate market and continue to evolve with the evolving platforms and audience. So I think it's an upper hand to just like communicate, like Lewis said, kind of gain those insights, learnings from the audience, who I would say is more than happy to engage and share their thoughts. Our audience is super engaged into our brands, and they want to have their voice be heard. And so it's a platform where we always encourage all of our brands to turn on comments, listen to the audience, because that's where we're seeing a lot of new products and trends come about. And our brands, I think, can be as engaged as our users. A lot of things Lewis is saying, like listen and learn and continue to have those conversations. I'd say the best practice I can share is just continue connecting, continue having a conversation with our users. Our users are very brand loyal, but if you're not connecting, they're not going to become brand loyal. So I think by having that connection, at least on a daily or as frequently as you can, that's going to enable you to have those conversations, create that connection, and then foster that brand loyalty.
So one of your I guess tips would be focus on two-way communication, just rather than just pushing out a message.
Definitely.
Any other
yeah,
tips on creative content for those for Lewis, Gigi, and Raphael who may be creating content in the near future?
Yeah, well, I hope so. I would say try things. It is a very engaged audience. They're going on the platform almost, they're spending about a movie's worth of time on a daily basis. And so, what we're seeing some of our top creators do is post 10, 15 times a day. The way that our algorithm works is that it's really celebrating and pushing out what we consider dynamic content. That means there is music and motion synchronized. There's a hook. It's really interesting and engaging content. Almost every piece of content should really serve as like a movie trailer, essentially. Whether it is wait till the end to see something, whether it is you'll never believe what happened, really play with the content as well as the description below to really create some dynamic engagement. And the more you post, the more you'll learn. We do provide data at different points, and you can see, how many people engage with this piece of content. How much did they view? Was the view time longer on this video versus that? And start to kind of gain those insights and learnings and build. But I would say don't focus on the actual following. It's not in the TikTok behavior to, if they love a brand, to click follow. It's in the nature, if they love a brand, to actually respond to the brand, to continue reaching out to the brand. So that is a big nuance. We're really a platform built on content, a content algorithm versus a social graph. So the better the content is, the more our algorithm will promote it. And you'll see more engagement versus just likes, versus just following.
That is a great perspective, and thank you for sharing that. Yeah. As we bring this conversation to an end, for each of you, what's your biggest learning so far in the NIALC space, and where do you see it going?
Yeah, so when we started, it was revolution, and revolution turned out to become rather an evolution. And there's so many new participants in the market, and then consumers. Hopefully, there's mostly good experience they make when they have the first contact with the category. That's why I love Lewis' job so much, giving the people the best products. That's why we're going to have a talk later, Lewis, in order to maybe bring Siegfried also to the US. No, but actually it's an evolution. It's an evolution taking place, and as it's consumer driven, and everything that's consumer driven is unstoppable.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was going to say, I think one of the biggest learnings for sure has been that there is a much larger demand than I've ever expected in this category. I think when we first started, we knew we were very interested and passionate about it, but we would have never imagined how many people were interested in this, and all the messages we got, and kind of it opened eyes from a lot of people that necessarily didn't know that they wanted this product or needed this product, or just didn't know it existed. And it got people incredibly excited. And like Gigi said a while ago, there's just an emotional connection with a lot of these consumers that it helps build like this brand loyalty that you can never imagine, and these like intimate relationships with your consumers that, like I said, you don't typically get in every industry. So I think we're at these infant stages where we're able to do so much, and we're able to learn like constantly day to day. And the way we make our content is we're connecting with these people, and then we literally, what they are telling us, we're making business decisions based off of that. And that's just been an incredible learning experience, because we haven't done that in our past business history of like selling olive oil and whatnot. It's just a completely different landscape. And I think it's important to take advantage of these opportunities that we have with these consumers. And long term, like I said, I think it's going to be everywhere. And like Raphael said, if it's going to be one of those situations where if you don't have it on your menu, people are going to be questioning, like, how come these guys don't have a non-alcoholic option? What's going on here? I think that's what it's going to be like.
Yep, agreed, Lewis. I would say that the biggest learning is that, I mean, we're really just getting started. You know, we created this for some, you know, we were initially some, you know, 40-year-old parents who had stuff to do tomorrow morning and still wanted to have something, you know, wonderful tonight. And we've just learned that we are so not alone. You know, people who are 25 want this product. People who are 65 want this product. There's no target. The net is so wide because there are so many people who have a desire for this product, and many of whom have a need for it. You know, this kind of product. And I think on that front, another really big learning is how important authenticity is. You know, speaking on a personal front, I've had many past careers. I have been in advertising and have as well, and been you know, overseen many other brands, and it is huge when you are creating something that you really believe in, and we have found that too with the consumers that we connect with, and with our ambassador program. You know, it's quality over quantity. Like, really just reach out to the people who authentically believe in this, because that will be seen and appreciated by everyone.
I'll just add, I think sky's the limit. I think what's really exciting is that non-alcohol is really redefining drinking culture. Like everyone mentioned, there's now new opportunities. And I think if the pandemic has taught us nothing, it's this opportunity to celebrate all small wins and to celebrate every important moment. And I could foresee people having a beverage on a Friday morning or a Monday morning, or morning versus evening, and just redefining lifestyle and when is an appropriate time to celebrate. So I'm really excited the fact that there are less restrictions in the non-alcoholic space to really redefine when you should have a beverage, and what joy that brings, and what celebration and community. So I think it's a really exciting time.
Thank you, Lauren. And I hope everybody can enjoy a beverage after this call. I'd really like to thank you all for your time and participating in the discussion. I think we've touched upon a lot of interesting topics, and the audience will have a lot to take away.